Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with me here to talk to everybody about the blueprint coming up on September 17th on a Thursday. So tell us a little bit about yourself, what brought you here to us, and why you wanted to be involved with the blueprint.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that I love is sharing my vision and my ideas to help people grow into the confidence that they may have or they may not even know that they have. And the blueprint seemed like just an incredible opportunity to do that. I know that there are many female leaders and female business owners, and there are often so many things that they have to do managing different priorities, and I wanted to make sure that I could just add a little bit of peace, a little bit of confidence, and maybe a few more ideas to their repertoire so that they would be able to really have something that would be usable for them and walk out with their head held a little bit higher and go into leading their business a little more effectively.
Yeah, I love that. So tell us a little bit about your background and what you do in your day to day.
Yeah. So I have spent my entire career leading and developing other people. I worked in retail for a decade. I started as a part-time seasonal sales associate and worked my way up to store manager and district trainer. I worked in higher education for 15 years. I spent a decade of that with students, working with student organizations, fraternities and sororities, really helping them see what leadership level influence looked like for their peers and growing into their awakening moments. And then I worked for 6 years with alumni doing alumni relations, really engaging people to get involved in things that they were passionate about, and also annual giving fundraising. And so supporting those really basic needs. And now I work at an accounting firm, and I get to spend my days working with accountants and helping them grow into consultants and advisors. And so even though it's spread across different industries, it's always been about one thing. It's been about people, and it's been about their leadership and their development and their growth. And so anytime I have a chance to do that, I am so excited to pour into others where I can.
I love that. What an interesting journey to end up from the higher education and
Yeah.
now with giving that growth back to others in that area. And I'm sure accountants can
Mhm.
be interesting to work with
Mhm.
when you get probably a lot of introverts and maybe some people that are a little quieter sometimes, and
Yes,
then bringing
yes.
out those personalities, that confidence.
Yes, absolutely. Accountants are certainly introverted. My husband is an accountant by training. And so in my job interview, they asked, do you know how to work with accountants? And I'm like, oh boy, do I ever. And so that was kind of fun too. But, you just think about they care so deeply about the numbers and helping to really serve the clients well from the financial side. And part of the beauty of what I get to do is say, hey, let's talk to them about who they are as people as well. And so it's just a little bit of training, a little bit of guidance, and that extra support. But there are a lot of people who are introverted or think other people won't like them or don't want to step into those moments where they could really make that great connection. And I think that is something cool about when people attend conferences like this one, because they're saying, hey, I'm willing to put myself out there and I may be terrified, but I want to try because I want to see the community that I'm part of and grow into something beyond what I'm currently doing.
Yeah, especially I think with the rise of the internet and everybody only having to do social things in doses sometimes, or being able to be behind a screen, some of
Yeah.
those abilities have really changed a lot. So,
Mhm.
do you see more of this in some areas that where people may have been more quiet before or thought of
Yeah.
as a more quiet
Yeah.
industry or personality?
Yeah. I think that people are really desperate for connection, and that's something that they may not realize because we are pummeled with information all day long, whether it's social media or news or other people sharing information with us through even things like this, like a video call or a video interview. And we forget when we're in the presence of real people how much that connection matters and what being face to face with somebody can actually do that's different than a screen or a phone call or an email. And so there's real value in spending time together and being authentic with people and just really stepping out there and saying, hey, I'm willing to try and this is important to me, so I want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about your specific presentation on September 17th at the Blueprint. Tell us what people can expect to come and hear a little bit of obviously in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I've noticed, especially about female leaders, is that they live in the land of guilt, is what I would say, where they always think that they're not doing enough, that they are feeling that they are doing it wrong. And so my session will be focused on reminding women how capable they are and that they are enough no matter what they're currently doing. And so when they are looking at their days that are dependent upon willpower and survival mode, growth really starts to feel distant because their success feels exhausting. And so it's that time to really refocus on the right things so that they are looking at how far they've come, not how far that they have to go. And so it's really looking at redesigning what no longer works for them and taking that courageous step forward so that they start to look at, here's what I do well, here is what I'm proud of, and here is where I can grow. And so it will be a very authentic session and maybe a little hard to hear for some people because letting go of that guilt is hard. And so helping them to remember that what they bring to the table is valuable, is necessary, and is unique. Not anyone can do the things that they're currently doing.
Yeah. I think it's interesting whenever you say letting go of that guilt is hard. And I think that will hit for a lot of people in ways that they may not see that in their everyday lives. And the things that we even sometimes, you get a new outfit and somebody gives you a compliment. And instead of just saying thank you, a lot of the time we feel the
Yes.
need to excuse, oh, well, I got it on sale. Or
Yes.
whatever big
Yes.
thing has happened in your life. And we
Mhm.
tend to excuse a lot of that. And I'm sure that ties into that guilt feeling a little bit.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. And I want to help even release something like it's okay to accept gratitude. It's okay to be willing to do that. And that is a mindset shift, even just to be able to say, thank you. I appreciate those comments, or to release some of the mental load, or to let other people help you. And I see so many women that are afraid to ask for help. But if you flip the tables and somebody asks them for help, they will bend over backwards to help them. And so it's reminding them that there isn't anyone in the world that if you need help would say, no, I don't want to help you. Most people are like, thank you for letting me be involved. Thank you for letting me help. And so it's some things that after people hear the presentation, I hope that they think, wow, that was so obvious. But then it becomes really usable pieces that in their mind they can think, I know this isn't true because I heard this, I remember this, I worked on this, and now I'm ready to use these things that I've learned so that I can make my life a little bit better and effectively serve others more better. That's not a real word. Serve others more effectively as well, whether it is in their business, in their professional life, in their personal life, or just how they show up and present themselves every single day.
Yes, yes. And some of that, like you're saying, to serve others, but then also, you can't, as we grow within ourselves, we grow
Mhm.
those muscles of being able to take care of bigger opportunities. And so
Yes,
being able to prepare
yes,
ourselves for that as
yes.
well.
Yes, absolutely. And really that's, learning to delegate to others is really empowering others to do what they do best so that you can do what you do best. And I think you mentioned it lightly, but you can't fill from an empty cup either. So you have to take care of yourself so that you can be aware enough of your surroundings and take care of other people and really help them and continue to grow in the way that serves you really well and will serve others.
Yeah, some of those old sayings that you can't fill from an empty cup, or those that they ring true for a reason.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. Yes.
Uh,
Sometimes not what we want to hear, but exactly what we need to hear.
yes. Along those lines, do you have any sayings, quotes, mantras, anything that tends to follow you through your life?
Yeah, there are quite a few. One that always stands out to me, and I think I have to remind myself is believe the best in everyone. It saves a lot of trouble. You think when things don't go well, you're like, oh, that person is an idiot or they were out to get me. And really, if you stop and say, I think they were doing their best. Something isn't working. You come into situations more with a growth mindset so that you're thinking, how can we work together on this and build something that is going to last instead of jumping into confrontation, which most people are terrified to do because they don't want to rock the boat. But really, it's often, hey, we're on the same page. We're trying to do the same thing. We just need to talk about this thing that isn't working and let's figure it out so we can work together even more strongly in the future.
Yeah, and avoid those big confrontations if we can just have the small little conversations.
Right. Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So along the same lines, are there any books or and it can be industry specific or just even some fiction or something that's meaningful to you?
Yeah. Well, on a personal note, I love procedural crime drama. So anybody that wants to talk, whether it is mystery books, Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie, or any procedural crime drama TV show or movie, any of that kind of stuff, I absolutely love it. And funny
Okay.
enough, this is going to seem like a book PR tour, but the book I'm reading right now is actually on my desk. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality, and it's really changing my mindset of it is one thing to have an effective service mindset, but it is another thing to do that so well that you call it unreasonable and really looking at how you can surprise and delight others by doing what you do so incredibly effectively. And it is just really nice to see the thought leadership that is out there for different areas. And this is based on the restaurant industry. I from what I've read so far, and I'm nearly finished with the book, it's on every it works for every industry. I also love Brene Brown Dare to Lead. I think that that is a really focused um, mindset for people that want to grow into leadership. One of the things that she shares in that book is paint it done. And so we often think that we're being very clear, but nobody knows what lives inside our head. And so
Mm.
I love to, hey, if training you is important to me, let me pause and tell you this, and let me share with you what it's going to look like when it's done. You may get there a different way than I did, but if we achieve the same end result, then we're still fine. And often when I paint it done, they then add their imagination to it, and it is better than what I expected from the very beginning. I went to a training session yesterday when we were talking about business development, and that's really just building relationships. But our trainer was talking a little bit about if you want to grow and you want to be a leader in your industry, you always need to be reading books. You should have two or three ideas of things that you're reading, whether they're personal books or professional books in your industry and outside of your industry. And I was like, I'm doing that. I'm so excited to hear this. And so I think that's advice that I would pass on to anyone else is you have a lot of great ideas, but there is a world of amazing information out there of people who have really thought through things that they want to share and are working towards becoming those thought leaders. And so some women business leaders may literally just be trying to survive. And that's a different conversation than strengthening what they're doing or a different conversation than strategic growth. And we've got opportunities for each of those to help move you into from survival to thriving or continuing to strengthen what really works well or looking at scaling to the next level of what is even possible. And so my advice would be always have a couple of books that you're reading.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a book that I read last year, and I can't remember what it was, but it said in there was a quote about if you could have conversations with the smartest people in the world from hundreds of years ago until now, why wouldn't you?
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
basically what you're doing. You're getting to have those
Yes.
even in internal
Yes.
conversations. So
Well, and I've heard another complementary piece to what you just shared is if you're talking to the most important person in the world, you can't help but make eye contact and be so engaged in that conversation. And why wouldn't you do that for everyone else that's in front of you? So if the phone is ringing, turn it over, put it on silent, be present for the person that you're there so that you can make those connections and you can help them feel like they matter. And it really will add value to your relationship, but then it'll also help them grow as well.
absolutely. One last kind of general question here. So,
Mhm.
whenever you are working maybe with some of these professionals or clients on the side or whoever it may be, what is a way that you bring them back to, we're all up here. We've got the technology, we've got everything going on, like we talked about, and all these
Mhm.
interactions.
Mhm.
How do you help them to ground, to find some peace, to find that tranquility when everything's going crazy?
Yeah, I do. I'm a certified Gallup Strengths Coach as well, and so I spend a lot of time with people's top five. But mine are strategic and significance, focus, discipline, and command. And so all of those blended together really mean like I love to take things that are these big, lofty ideas, or when it's a hot mess situation, or when it's really difficult or complex and it's unknown, and focus on priorities and break it down into small, meaningful pieces. I love to help people create clarity out of complexity And that really kind of sounds like a tagline, which it's not supposed to. But when you talk about these big ideas and you're like, okay, well, how's this going to help me on a Tuesday? That's where I love to put it into those actionable steps where again, you can't do everything. You're going to hear tons of ideas at this conference and it's going to just be this amazing day. But you look at the two or three ideas where you're like, I want to invest in these and this is how I want to move forward. And here's the action plan that's going to make it feel very realistic for me. And then move forward with what you can. And then, like the Maya Angelou quote, she says, do what you can until you know better and then do
Mhm.
better. Do what you can do. And if that's what you can do, great. And if you can add a little bit more or change your things to make it a little bit easier for you and work towards better, then do that. But always think about how far you've come instead of how far you have to go. Sure, your goals are important, but it's okay to
Mhm.
stop and smell the roses and celebrate your success along the way.
I love that. That happens to be my favorite quote, by the way. So
Okay,
thanks
there you
for
go. Yes.
thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Well, before we close out here, I just want to give you the opportunity to invite people to anything else that you would like to add and tell them about why they should come out to the blueprint.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just think it is worth it for you to invest in yourself. I want you to spend the day focused on pouring into you so that you can continue to build what's best about you and really look at where you want to go and who you are as a person. Be proud of what you bring to the table and know that there is a great space for others who are like-minded and want to do the same thing. And you'll get a chance to meet them at the blueprint, which is just going to be such a really cool experience. I mean, the reason that I'm there is I saw somebody else who was in my leadership Springfield class, Sunny Nutt, and she was teaching yoga. And I'm like, if Sunny is involved, I want to be involved. And so you see people that you love and you admire that are involved in things and people notice. And so if you as a participant are planning to come, send a text to a couple of friends and invite them because people love to be invited. They love to know that they belong and they love to know that they matter. And we have the power to do that, which I think is a really cool experience that technology and AI maybe are the tools that make it easier, but they're not the tools that replace us. We're what matters, and we're the ones that can really make the difference for each other.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Andrea, for spending some
Yeah,
time with me and for giving everybody a little bit of a glimpse of what they'll be able to see from you on Thursday, September 17th at the Blueprint.
awesome.
Thank you so, so much.
Yeah, so excited. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, and it's going to be here before we know it.